Now to the war in Ukraine, where Russian authorities are ramping up evacuations in Ukraine's southern Kherson region.
They are claiming Ukraine could be preparing to attack a key dam and flood the region. Kyiv has rejected the claims and instead counter-accuses Moscow of considering staging exactly this type of attack. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials say Russia fired 4 missiles into the southern port city of Mykolaiv overnight. An apparent building and school were hit by the missiles. At least one person killed. The attack happened a day after Russia rained missiles down on several other cities in the country, including Kyiv. Joining us now for more is Holly Williams. She's in central Ukraine for us. Holly, thank you for joining us. The battle for southern Ukraine is intensifying. How important is the outcome there to the course of the war overall?
Yeah, hey, Tony and Lana. The whole Kherson region is strategically key, extremely key for the Russians. It connects Crimea, which they illegally annexed back in 2014, with parts of eastern Ukraine that are currently also under Russian control. So it would be a devastating loss for the Russians. But also, it would be yet another indication that Russia's invasion of Ukraine appears to be flailing. I mean, make no mistake, the Russians have done enormous damage. They've killed civilians, they've laid waste to cities, but they've also suffered this string of embarrassing failures. At the start of the invasion, their assault on Kyiv, the capital, was an abject failure. They were forced back across the border by the Ukrainians. It then seemed that this would turn into a kind of long-running, grinding war of attrition, but then the Ukrainians launched this surprise attack, surprise offensive in the northeast, and recaptured swaths of territory. And throughout this invasion, the Russians have taken huge losses. So if they indeed lose Kherson in this expected Ukrainian counteroffensive, it'll be another sign that their so-called special military operation has been a miscalculation on the part of Vladimir Putin and a display of military ineptitude.
You know, Holly, as you were describing that, we were looking at some images, and there was an image of a little boy holding his pet cat that just sort of reminds you of the people behind all of this. And as you say, as Russia has been flailing, they're ramping up their missile strikes on infrastructure around Ukraine, including in Kyiv. With winter approaching, do people have what they need to survive? What are the plans on that front?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, the Ukrainians seem to be doing a surprisingly good job with this, of coping with this assault on their infrastructure, on their, energy and water supplies. Yesterday, officials in Kyiv, the capital, said that 80% of the city was without water, but they set up these kind of communal places, these spigots, where people could still access clean water. And today, a day later, they say that the entire city now has its water supply restored. There have been blackouts across the country, but most of them have been only for a few hours at a time. We spoke with the mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko, a few days ago, and we asked him, what was the worst case scenario for the winter? Because it's a very harsh winter here. We wanted to know what was the planning for the worst case scenario, if people's homes are without heating or without electricity. Now, he wouldn't be drawn on what the worst case scenario was, but he said that they were planning things like, once again, communal places where people could be warm if their homes were no longer habitable. The other thing to point out is that Ukrainian air defenses seem to be doing an extremely effective job. The Ukrainians claim that they are managing to shoot down 85% of the weaponized drones that the Russians are sending their way. And there's more help on the way in the shape of more air defense systems from some of Ukraine's friends.
Hey, Holly, I've got a final question here about grain exports from Ukraine. I'm not sure I understand exactly what's going on, but there are reports, according to the BBC, of vessels with grain leaving Ukrainian ports as of today with the backing of Turkey and the United Nations. Is there movement to reestablish, or does this reflect a reestablishment of a Black Sea grain export deal with Russia?
Yeah, Tony, look, it's a complicated situation. There are still grain ships in the last couple of days leaving Ukrainian ports, but a deal that was done between Russia and Ukraine to allow the safe passage of grain ships, Russia has pulled out of that deal, and as far as we know, there is no movement on that. Just to remind you of the background, Russia and Ukraine agreed that deal to allow the safe passage of grain ships back in July after grain prices spiked around the world. as a result of the war, bringing more hunger to some of the world's poorest countries. But Russia claims that on Saturday, a swarm of Ukrainian drones attacked its Black Sea fleet, and it says it can no longer guarantee the safety of civilian ships. However, the United Nations says that there were no grain ships in the corridor through the Black Sea that was agreed under the deal at the time of the attack, completely kind of undermining Russia's argument there. The fear now, though, is that there could be fewer shipments, that grain prices could spike around the world. And in fact, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Russia of, quote, blackmailing the world with hunger.
All right, Holly, thank you for staying on top of all of it.